In beautiful Stafford, Virginia, the greens and fairways are just the beginning. Discover our scenic trails, paddle our rivers, and enjoy nature's grandeur. Your taste buds will thank you as you visit our award-winning breweries and wineries. In Stafford, the history, stories, and legends of America's past are waiting to be discovered. Whether you're chasing outdoor adventure, family fun, or a place to unwind, Stafford has it all. Just off I-95 and closer than you think. Plan your visit at tourstaffordva.com. Stafford, where your story starts.
Golfin Around is sponsored by Tour Stafford, Virginia. Team USA versus Team Scotland Amateur Golf Championships. You could win a trip to St. Andrews, Scotland. Tourism Ireland. Squares Golf Shoes.
A new kind of golf shoe. The first real balance of lightweight comfort and proven performance. More stability, more comfort, more distance. The new LT series by Squares.
Introducing the Level Playing Field podcast, a video podcast dedicated to shining a light on the new and ever-changing world of amateur and professional sports. Featuring Olympian and NCAA standout wrestler Dennis Attia sharing his bold opinions on the development of NIL, the transfer portal, and how collegiate scholarships are being reshaped across the country. Each episode dives into the stories, the controversies, and the real impact these changes are having on athletes, schools, and fans. You can find every episode on YouTube, Spotify, and at DennisAttia.com.
I learned in the Marine Corps, when I carried a rifle during the Vietnam War, that you always do what you say you'll do, period. I said our new Gen 6 golf clubs would be of the highest quality, incredibly long, blazing fast, beyond forgiving, and gorgeous to look at. And I'm here to tell you today, they are exactly that. To learn more, visit pxg.com, then schedule your custom fitting today. Hoorah! PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Hey, welcome back to the Golfin Around Radio Hour. I'm your host, Randy the Tank Tantlinger. You know, Ireland. Just when I say the word Ireland, I know it conjures up images in your head of beauty, splendor, perhaps the Cliff of Moher that are so beautiful. You know, I've been blessed by God above to go to Ireland. I think this was just my 10th or 11th trip just this past April. And we're going to talk with Cormac Flannery now, who might just be living in, if it's possible, the most beautiful place in all of Ireland. Down in the southwest corner is the Dingle Peninsula. Cormac, am I far off from saying that Dingle might be the most beautiful part of Ireland?
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. Firstly, thanks for having me on. It's great to feature here with you guys. We're excited to get a bit of airtime. And yeah, you don't have to take my word from it. It's kind of a National Geographic have highlighted Dingle as one of the top 10 most beautiful places in the world. So I think you nailed it there.
Yeah, it's just such a special place. And again, folks, when you think and dream of playing golf in Ireland, trust me, Dingle Peninsula, and we're going to get into the Dingle Golf Links here. Cormac is the general manager at Dingle Links. By the way, Cormac, I need you to go in the clubhouse and see if you can find my jock strap and my golf shoes. I left them in the locker on the left, okay?
I think they're on the sale rail, Randy. I think, we've dropped price a couple of times, but we're confident they're about to go.
Well, look, if you can sell those items in the pro shop, you just buy the boys a round of drinks on me for my used jock strap and shoes. Folks, the Dingle Peninsula is gorgeous. And again, Cormac, this has been my 10th or 11th time to Ireland. And as I told you the day we met, I had never been to the Dingle Peninsula. And maybe we saved the very best for last. So I want you to talk about Dingle Peninsula before we talk about your Dingle Golf Links there.
Sure. Dingle Peninsula is the uppermost peninsula in County Kerry. It's the westernmost peninsula in Ireland. The tip of Dingle Peninsula is as far as you can go into the Atlantic. It's next stop Newfoundland and New York, and depending on the route you take over there. Yeah, it's a well-known beauty spot. It's wild, rugged. So it's obviously as a peninsula, it's lined with beaches, but in its heart is the second highest mountain in Ireland. So it's pretty hilly, pretty scenic. It's a tourist hotspot of renown. I think I heard a stat there. It's amongst the top three most visited tourist towns during the season. And yeah, as like anywhere you'd think with a tourist focus, it's we're very highly geared towards that. Great bars, great restaurants, activities, outdoor activities, non-golf activities, second to none. Whale watching, boat tours, horseback riding, everything you could kind of think of. It's a huge walking destination with there's a Dingle Way and the mountain hiking that we have around here, and then slap bang in the middle of all that we got Count Shabelle, our Dingle Golf Links. So yeah, beautiful spot. I think we have Dingle Town. I mentioned to you when you were here has 2,000 residents and 52 bars. And it was always like that. It's a funny thing. It was a fishing town only a generation or two back, kind of turned into, there's still fishing here, but tourism has become the main industry, and a great place to live for sure.
There's no doubt about it that Dingle is beautiful. It is stunning. All that imagery you have about Ireland, and it's no wonder that somebody eventually said, we need to hire Eddie Hackett, the famous golf course designer, and build a golf course here on the Dingle Peninsula. The Dingle Golf Links has its beautiful Gaelic name, and Cormac, don't laugh when I say it, Keon Sibel. Keon Sibel. Is that the Gaelic name, and how close was I, buddy?
You're pretty close. You're pretty close. Nailed the second one. We would say Ceann Sibel. Yeah, pretty much bang on. Ceann is the Irish for headland, and Sibel was actually a woman. She existed in the 17th century. Sibel Lynch. She was a daughter of a Galway chieftain, and the local chieftain here, Pierce Furter, he went up to Galway to meet his Galway equivalent. That man made the mistake of bringing his daughter Sibel to the meeting, and Pierce Furter apparently had one look at Sibel and kind of fell in love. And he filled the father up with wine and had his men row him ashore and set off down here to his castle in Bala Uachtarach here, right near the golf club, literally, a 3 wood away from the golf club. And as you can imagine, the Galway chieftain followed him down. It took a few days. He arrived down with a few men to take back his daughter. Pierce hid the daughter and his sister, Urla, in a nearby cave, and he went off to see off the Galway men, but which he did. Chieftains didn't become chieftains by losing battles in their home ground. But when he went back up to the cave to go to the two girls, there was a full moon and spring tide, and the cave had filled with water, and they were drowned. So it's not a very romantic story. I suppose the romantic side is what happened afterwards. So as chieftain, he kind of labeled the headland, in memory of Sibel. It would always be known as Count Sibel or Sibel's Headland. And yeah, the golf course, we robbed that name just with our proximity here to the headland. So it's an interesting story, to be fair. It's pretty cool.
Well, what would any Irish story be worthy of if there was not a legend attached to it, like the Giant's Causeway in the north up there. So I love the fact, and folks, that's why you want to go discover Ireland. That's why you want to go play Dingle Links, is all those fabulous stories like Princess Sibel being kidnapped and ultimately drowning. And you want to hear all these lovely stories that are part of Irish legend and history. Not only the beauty of Dingle Peninsula, but the quality of golf at the Dingle Golf Links. All right, Cormac, it's time to tee it up. And folks, before we start, okay, I want you to know something. Cormac is the general manager at Dingle Links, but I'm telling you, this guy can play golf too. He hits the ball a country mile. And the day we were there, and again, you're out on a peninsula in the middle of the North Atlantic. Cormac, it was a little windy the day Denny and I came to visit you.
Well, for sure. Yeah. We do get some wind from time to time.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a links golf course. And folks, again, so you know the true definition of a links golf course. You can't be landlocked in the middle of Nebraska to be a links golf course. You have to be right beside the ocean. You have to have a sand base for the golf links to be built upon. And that's what you have here at Dingle Golf Links. Cormac, I'm going to just throw you a big grapefruit right now. Tell our listeners of the Golfin Around Radio Hour all about Dingle Golf Links.
Yeah, it is a grapefruit, Randy. Let me try and go maybe in chronological order. So I suppose we'll have to give a nod to history here. We had Dingle Golf Club was actually established in 1924, so we had a centenary of the club a couple of years ago. It was located much closer to Dingle Town. And what often happens in Irish history, and even in some of the clubs here, neighbouring clubs in Kerry, you'll see that at some point in their history they were moved from point A to point B, usually due to a landowner coming increasing rent or wanting the use of their land back or whatever, and that was no different here. So Dingle Golf Club was around and open for play until the mid-50s, when they had a considerable hike in their lease for the land holdings. So they started looking around and eventually chose the land up here. We're in the northwestern tip of the Dingle Peninsula. We're just off the famous Slayhead Drive. So I think I told you when you were here, I think I heard a stat from the Dingle Peninsula Tourism Alliance that 10 million international visitors visit Ireland on a yearly basis, and about 1.9 million of them do the Slayhead Drive. So we're pretty, even though we're quite isolated, and as the most western golf club in Ireland, we're a long way from Dublin or the likes. We're actually still really very much on the beaten path. So yeah, Eddie Hackett was engaged to build the course in the 50s and 60s. And it opened for play in 1969. So we've kind of been knocking around this play. We're coming up on almost 60 years shortly enough in this location. What we have here is the Atlantic to the west of us, the north of us, and the east of us in Smurrick, and you kind of have an old sand belt that almost runs and joins the sea on one side to the other. So as you nailed, if we're very lucky, if we grab a shovel or grab a machine and take a few scoops out of the earth, it's pure sand that's underneath. So we have all year round golf for our members if you can brave the winter elements in the western tip of Ireland. We very seldom get any snow or anything like that. And then in the summer we get hard and fast, traditional links golf at its finest. It's actually what we have right here. I was saying to you before we went live on air. It's actually an unseasonably warm day here, which is rare for us, as you can imagine. We're just under 30 degrees Celsius. And I would say at the moment, if you're playing downhill, downwind, you're pretty much adding, you might have heard of like a 1-2 club wind. It's like a 4 club wind, I would say. If your pitching wedge goes 130 and you're downwind right now on the first, I think you could hit that club from right out to 175, 180 yards, and it's getting all the way there because it gets fiery out there.
You're listening to the Golfin Around Radio Hour. I'm your host, Randy the Tank Tantlinger, joined by my new friend over there in Ireland, Cormac Flannery. And we're talking about his beautiful Dingle Golf Links, which, again, folks, Dingle might be the most beautiful place in Ireland. And that's really hard to say because all of Ireland is beautiful, and I love it there. Cormac, I mentioned to you, my mother's family is from up in the Northwest there. And I just love Ireland, folks. But I never thought I'd re-fall in love with Ireland like it was the very first time all over again by going to the Dingle Peninsula and coming and visiting Cormac and the good folks there at the Dingle Golf Links. I highly recommend you put it on your next trip. Or if you want to travel with Golfin Around, get a hold of us. We run tour packages. Cormac, let's talk about some of the signature holes there now. We had some fun out on the golf course, Denny with golftrips.com, and we went out and filmed with you. And I applaud the two of you. Again, the wind was howling that day, people. And Cormac and Denny, who's a great golfer, they just amazed me at their ability to move the ball around in that wind just coming off the North Atlantic like that. Cormac, what are your favorite holes? What are your signature holes there at Dingle Golf Links?
Yeah, I think it's a subtle little traditional links. There's different pins and different wind directions will unlock certain holes in certain days. It never really plays the same. I guess on the front nine, like we recently rebuilt the fifth hole, par three, which I think is a beautiful little golf hole. It's kind of like an infinity pool looking green. You hit a slightly raised green with just a mountain backdrop and all these reeds of which the hole is named after. I like five. And then eight is probably one of my favorite holes. Certainly on the front, it's a risk reward par four. You can get it with, like, the day we were there. You could get close to it off the tee. A longer hitter will get on it. But likewise, it can play driver 4-iron the following day with the wind around. It's probably my favorite green complex in the whole golf course on number 8. Really subtle, tree bunkers, and like most true links green complexes, where the pin is will determine where you need to be off the tee. And like what I really love about 8 is very often you're better for a certain pin missing the fairway 20 yards left to open up, let's say, a back right pin or a front left pin, because from the middle of the fairway, it'll be very difficult to access some of those. So local knowledge, caddies come into play. I guess 9 is the official signature hole, 440-yard uphill towards the clubhouse, par 4. Some would say aptly named in Irish Ifrin, which is the Irish for hell. Our members say it takes 2 great shots to get up there and 3.
Right.
Then on the backside, Randy, I know I actually think that little 4-hole run, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is a par 5 from the top of the golf course to the back to the bottom of the course, and it's a slight. It's almost a dogleg right left off the tee and left right in the approach. Really risk reward hole, plenty of trouble, but again, you put 2 good swings with a long club together, and you can have a putt for a tree. So I really love the risk reward thing. And then I think the final 3 holes, 16, 17, 18, are just a perfect complement. Short, beautiful, set into the ground. 16, I think we got some videotape on that when you were here. There's an old bridge there, and the green sets into the ground. It's one that you want to get as left as you can off the tee to open up the green, but then the fairway is flanked by a burn up the left-hand side, so you got to be careful. 17, probably my second favorite hole in the golf course, par 4, long. Again, risk reward off the tee. There's a burn, depending on what tees you're playing. It could be 260 to 285 out. And you might think, oh, I'll never be in that. But I can promise you, if you're here today, it's straight downwind on that hole. And the 250, you could be in there with a 5-iron today, down breeze onto a firm and fast fairway. It's running out, and it's catching a lot of people out. Even some of our most experienced caddies got caught there yesterday because as you can imagine, we don't get it this hot this early in the year too often. And 18, the big long par five. Again, you can have a go when you got the wind behind, or it can be a four-shotter into the wind. It's one of those. Great closing hole, par five. Then you head to the 19th, which is probably another contender for one of my favorite holes.
Absolutely. You know, the beauty of Dingle Golf Links, folks, wonderful Eddie Hackett design, a redesign by Christy O'Connor there. But the whole course is framed by the ocean and the mountains that frame around it. It's as if the golf course is in the middle of those beautiful mountains, Cormac, and of course the ocean's right there. It's just one of the most lovely, tranquil scenes you'll ever experience in golf. And you got to get to Ireland. And I recommend highly because, again, folks, many, many years of going and discovering Ireland and rediscovering my favorite courses again. I feel like a child on Christmas morning, Cormac, having discovered Dingle Bay and Dingle Golf Links for the very first time. I feel like it's Christmas morning and I got to open up a brand new toy. And just, I want to thank you. Denny and I enjoyed our day there. And folks, Cormac, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the story. If you're a fan of the movie Slapshot, that famous comedy from the 1970s with Paul Newman and the Hanson brothers, and the infamous Ogie Oglethorpe. As we came off the golf course, and as Cormac said, we headed to the 19th hole, being ever the gentleman that Cormac is, he says, "Oh, by the way, did you ever see the movie Slapshot?" Well, Ogie Oglethorpe is up there having a drink, and sure enough, there was Ned Dowd, who played Ogie Oglethorpe in the movie Slapshot. And Denny, who was traveling with us with golf trips, played college hockey. So those two sat there and talked for close to an hour and a half, 2 hours, and had some beers. But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, here's an American who lived the Hollywood lifestyle, and he now calls the Dingle Peninsula home. He calls the Dingle Golf Links his watering hole. That should tell you the majesty of Dingle and how special it is. And to be honest with you, Cormac, I wouldn't have trouble living out the rest of my days in Dingle Peninsula and bothering you every day there at Dingle Golf Links.
You would be no bother, Randy. I'm sure we could, got to be careful. We could make that happen. You can make that happen yet. Yeah, it certainly is a great place to live. Ned is a great guy. Yeah, he comes in here most days for a couple of beers in the middle of the day, and it's pretty cool. He's very unassuming and chilled fellow, so it's great having him around. And yeah, as I said, look, the 19th, like really what we try to do, as I mentioned, we're on the peak of the Dingle Peninsula. We try and, our goal is just to give a fantastic experience overall. From when you step out of the car, bus, or whatever, you'll be meted by myself very often, or one of the team here. From that point on to our orientation, the golf, or caddies, the pro shop offering, right the way through to the food on the upstairs. Like, we don't, if you're traveling back, if you've a little far to travel after the golf, we want to make sure you get up there and enjoy some of the local seafood, have a pint, or have a light refreshment of your own choosing, and yeah, just reflect on what was hopefully one of the great golfing days. That's our goal here.
Folks, Cormac Flannery with the Dingle Golf Links. Go see Cormac, and he's going to lay out the red carpet for you there at the Dingle Golf Links. Cormac, thank you for coming on the radio show. We appreciate it. And if you can find my golf spikes, like I said, and get that good price there, feel free to sell them and buy everybody a shot of whiskey.
There we go. We will do our best, Randy. We'll do our best. And thank you again for the invite. I'm excited to take part in your show and, hopefully spread some of the gospel about this place for you guys and your listeners.
All right, folks, when we come back to the Golfin Around Radio Hour, we're going to stay in the Emerald Isle, because after I left Cormac and Dingle Links, we headed over to the fabulous Mount Juliet Golf Resort, just south of Dublin proper. And we're going to go over there now. It's going to take a hell of a tee shot to get from Dingle Links over to Mount Juliet, but I think I can do it, Cormac.
There you go. I wouldn't doubt you for a second, Randy. Wouldn't doubt you.
Slàinte mhath.
Slàinte mhath.